Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. This is Invest in Yourself. My name is Cameron. Today we're going to cover these articles I keep on seeing on the internet about Berkshire possibly with this mysterious company that they're investing in that they didn't enclose on their 13 Fox filing recently. And I wanted to cover because there's a lot of information saying that it possibly could be Tesla, but that's strictly a theory. And that's strictly a guess. And nobody knows what's going on. Obviously, I don't. And I just wanted to cover it and kind of go over some of the information. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Pop a like, smash that like button, and subscribe as well. And again, thank you so much for coming. And we'll get into it. So Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett has been buying a new stock, but doesn't want to tell nobody, YouTube. And it appears that Berkshire Hathaway secured permission from the regulators not to disclose, their ongoing purchase in their latest Berkshire 13 Foxtrot filing for the third quarter, which was published on Monday. And the confidential information has been omitted from and I looked it up here, from the 13F filing, as you can see from my pointer, that the report and filed separately with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So confidential information has been omitted. And the only reason I can think this, YouTube, is Berkshire Hathaway would be doing this because it's to grow their stake in this mysterious company, whatever it is, and revealing it it might spur other investors to buy the stock, driving up the price that Buffett has to pay for overall. And that's why they're trying to keep this on the low, we could call it. And my assumption overall, YouTube, is that Berkshire Hathaway is undoubtedly building this large position in a new company and may reveal it probably next quarter in their next 13 Fox filing. But who knows? But I know, looking at previous 13Fs they filed from the past, YouTube, that, Berkshire Hathaway received confidentiality or treatment several times in the past. And with the last one being back in 2015, I think they did with IBM. So this is nothing new for Berkshire. And so I'm not jumping to conclusions, but there's something that they're building a big stake in overall. And we're kind of getting to the details in the video. And Buffett's, this hidden holdings, the latest sign that, I believe he's itching to deploy some of that cash, that Berkshire's vast reserves that they have after taking cover from the pandemic early this year. Now, kind of covering on the Tesla, you've been seeing a lot of these articles about Tesla, maybe the company that Berkshire is purchasing. And over the last 2 days, since it was confirmed that Tesla will be added to the S&P 500, it's a great thing for all of us Tesla investors and people who are Tesla bulls. The stock has been surging upward, and the results that Tesla added now around $80 billion valuation to its stock over the last 2 days. And there's an interesting theory going on out here by this guy named Frank Peelan, and he's pointing out that particularly Warren Buffett may be investing big into Tesla. And Frank ended up going on to the 13 Fox filing for Tesla and found 50 million Tesla shares have disappeared in hands of a currently unknown investor. And I looked it up earlier, and based on the 13 Foxtrot filings, which disclosed large ownerships on those 13 Fs, and it's showing basically unknown buyer and unknown holder for 50 million. And he makes, obviously right here, a correction, 50 million shares overall. And so this is particularly interesting in the context that Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's investment firm, filing for a confidential investment in a new company that didn't want to disclose in order not to overly affect the market. And that's the reason why I believe they disclosed, because this company has to be massive. Because if we look at what Frank is saying here, that the new investment could be worth upward of $11 billion. And to understand why that effect is, because an investment of that size of $11 billion, that would most likely result in more than 5% ownership in most companies. And 5% ownership in most companies, they have to basically they have to file with the SEC if they file over 5%, unless they file for an exemption, in which we don't know if they did, and we don't know if they even invested into Tesla. But unless getting into an investment of that size of 11 billion, 5% ownership threshold for a disclosure, and so that's the biggest thing we're trying to figure out. And what he's saying, there's only 25 companies listed on the U.S. exchange big enough not to reach that 5% threshold. And Berkshire Hathaway owns 9 of them out of the 25. And obviously, one of them's themselves, so 8 plus themselves. So 9 out of the 25 Berkshire owns, and Berkshire being themselves. So they're thinking that, hey, unless they didn't file an exemption, they didn't have to file, because they end up putting $11 billion into Tesla, and they didn't have to file it because it was under 5% unless they got an exemption. So we won't know probably till next quarter. But again, looking at Tesla would be one of those few companies big enough that that investment would make sense under that 5% threshold at 11 billion if it take place. Peelan argued against that missing Tesla shares and the mysterious investment from Berkshire Hathaway make for an interesting theory that Buffett may have acquired stakes in Tesla. So, but looking on the other side, my point of view, YouTube, it seems with Buffett and Tesla haven't had the greatest relationship in the past, YouTube. And with, Berkshire Hathaway also owns a lot of car dealerships in the U.S., which have lobbied against Tesla's direct sale model for years. And looking at Buffett has even lobbied against, the solar initiatives in Nevada, where, his company, Berkshire Hathaway, obviously owns the largest electric utility company in Nevada. So that my take on this, YouTube, recently there's been massive investors that are buying into Tesla now, resulting in massive surges. But looking at Frank Peelan, like he said, but nonetheless, there is a large number of shares that can be explained away by retail buying, delta hedging, and smaller institutional investors increasing their stakes. But 50 million shares cannot be explained. So there's a big buyer out there that they're not releasing of who's holding this mysterious no name of 50 million shares of Tesla, and obviously Berkshire Hathaway not confidentially information holding back building a stake in a certain company, and we don't know what it is. So we'll have to wait. But Buffett, in my mind, YouTube would be actually one of the last investors I would thought that would ever be buying Tesla. Just some from their actions, what he said in some, I would say the last year and a half, some interviews, and looking at like his famous partner Charlie Munger back in February, this year spoke about Tesla and his thoughts, and he was quoted, "My thoughts are two ways, that he would never buy Tesla or never short Tesla." That doesn't mean, I think they have high regards for Elon, but they don't like his aggressive type of manner that he operates in, and how fast he wants, innovation and growth. They're looking for value. They're trying to find a downbeaten company that everybody's overlooking, or the market's overlooking, and they're going to put capital towards it to get all they can out of that company. And that's what Berkshire Hathaway and, Warren Buffett is capitalized over his career of many, many, many decades. So, but, as we know, YouTube, that he's toward the end of his career there at Berkshire, and with Ted and Todd, the head managers there at Berkshire Hathaway, are probably taking more of the reins there at the company. And I would say, Warren's probably letting some of those let those reins go over to those money managers of the company overall. And maybe they are Ted and Todd or the other money managers are liking Tesla. So let me know what you think of the video, and I just wanted to cover this so-called theory. But the biggest thing is that Berkshire Hathaway is building a big position. I wouldn't call it big. $11 billion is a good position in their company. They have a cash and cash assets and equivalents of 100 billion plus, but we know a lot of that money is tied up into their insurance and their insurance underwriting and stuff like that. So, but again, let me know what you think down in the comments about the S&P 500 conclusion with Tesla and this mysterious company that Berkshire Hathaway is building a position on. And let me know you think this stuff ties in with Tesla and and BH with Warren Buffett. So let me know what you think, and thank you for coming again, and I appreciate every last one of y'all for coming by, stopping and supporting the channel. Let me know any other topics you'd like me to cover. I'm making a video on the Disney, because I ended up adding some shares of Disney the other day. It's a bigger company. I have part of my portfolio, and I believe a lot on it, and I'll discuss more about it later in the next video. But again, thank you so much again for coming to the channel, and remember, always invest in yourself. Bye bye.